The world's best coaster is about to open, yet somehow no one is talking about it. Construction has already begun on a new roller coaster at one of America's greatest parks, and this coaster looks like it will be the biggest roller coaster project of the decade. This new coaster will very likely become the best coaster in the entire world, but there's just one problem. Another park is also working on building the world's best coaster for 2024. So the real question is, which one of these two insane projects will become the world's best coaster after they open in 2024? We all know Top Thrill Dragster 2.0 is going to be one insane roller coaster. The coaster has been one of the most talked about roller coaster projects ever, and the hype surrounding it seems like it could easily become the best roller coaster in the world once it opens. Top Thrill Dragster was announced to be getting reimagined this January, and since then, the predictions for Top Thrill Dragster 2.0 have been getting crazier and crazier. Top Thrill Dragster is obviously getting an LSM launch instead of the original hydraulic launch the coaster offered. The new Top Thrill Dragster is also said to be getting all new track. Then of course there's the spike. The vertical spike potentially coming to Top Thrill Dragster is one of the biggest deals in the roller coaster industry. The groundwork for the spike is said to be able to hold a spike anywhere from 150 to over 500 feet tall. I wouldn't bet on Cedar Point breaking the 500-foot height mark on Top Thrill Dragster in 2024, but it's definitely the closest we've seen Cedar Point to a 500-foot coaster. Pantheon at Busch Gardens, Williamsburg opened in 2022, and the coaster was ranked as the 18th best roller coaster in the world in last year's Vote Coasters. If Top Thrill Dragster offered a 300-foot spike with a swing launch and then went into a few more elements like Pantheon does, then it would almost definitely be a much better coaster than Pantheon. Top Thrill Dragster's top hat is a more than double the height of Pantheon's, and with the new Dragster not being a ride that is over 10 seconds after it started, it would very likely make it into the top 10 list of the best roller coasters in the world. That's the first coaster I think could be the best coaster in the world opening in 2024. While Top Thrill Dragster 2.0 is one of the craziest roller coaster projects we've lived to see, it still might not be the best roller coaster to open in the United States in 2024. There's another coaster that's only recently been revealed that has the potential to be the world's best coaster by far for years to come. Before I talk about that though, there's one other roller coaster I want to talk about. A couple of months ago, rumors started emerging from Busch Gardens Williamsburg about a 2024 new roller coaster. Busch Gardens Tampa and Busch Gardens Williamsburg like to mirror each other pretty often when it comes to getting new coasters. Both parks got B&M dive coasters around the same time in the 2000s, and both parks ended up getting B&M inverts around the same time too. Both Busch Gardens parks got kiddie coasters at the same time, and both parks also got family coasters within a few years of each other. Not only that, but both parks got multi-launch coasters almost a year apart, and of course both parks got the famous Premier Rides launch coaster clones known as the Skyrocket 2. The Busch Gardens parks really like to mirror each other when they can, though sometimes it just isn't practical for other reasons. Seaworld built Iron Gwazi pretty recently, and with the history the two Busch Gardens parks have in terms of mirroring coasters, it only makes sense and RMC is on its way to Busch Gardens Williamsburg. When documents were leaked a few months ago showing plans for a mysterious Project 2024 at Busch Gardens Williamsburg, it seemed an RMC Hyper Hybrid was the most likely option. Busch Gardens Williamsburg has two problems with getting an RMC. The first problem is King's Dominion. When it comes to new coasters, Busch Gardens and King's Dominion try not to step on each other's toes. King's Dominion opened their RMC, Twisted Timbers, in 2018, and it's currently one of the best coasters in the country. If Busch Gardens Williamsburg wanted to build their own RMC, it would either have to be so much better and crazier than Twisted Timbers, or it would have to be significantly different in order to differentiate as much as possible between the two rides. There's a few things Busch Gardens can do to open an RMC different enough from King's Dominion. After all, RMC does have more than one coaster model. A Raptor, for example, is something very different than an iBox coaster, and Busch Gardens would definitely be able to open one of those without a problem. But the RMC Raptors haven't been even close to as popular or successful as the RMC iBox coasters. If Busch Gardens Williamsburg wanted an iBox coaster to mirror Gwazi, which opened at Busch Gardens Tampa in 2022, they'd most likely have to go all out when building the coaster. Busch Gardens Williamsburg doesn't currently have any old wooden coasters that would be prime for treatment from RMC, which means an RMC at Busch Gardens Williamsburg is automatically gonna be ground up. Seaworld knows good and well how successful Gwazi was, with many people calling it the best coaster in the world. If Seaworld was building a ground-up RMC at their other Busch Gardens park a full 4 years after they originally built Gwazi, it's safe to say that it will be even better. That would effectively make this new RMC coaster the best coaster in the world. Most of what we know about this potential 2024 edition is rumor and speculation, and it could change in the blink of an eye. That being said, Busch Gardens filed for a 220-foot tall attraction to open at the park in 2024. This new attraction looks like it will take Drakenspire's old plot of land that has been sitting vacant for quite some time. A 220-foot coaster screams RMC, and if this coaster does happen in 2024, it will be the second 2024 roller coaster with the possibility of becoming the best roller coaster on Earth. According to Brandon from Theme Park Predictions, some people have been saying this 2024 project was pushed back to 2025 in favor of an even crazier coaster SeaWorld plans to build at Busch Gardens Tampa. Busch Gardens Tampa is due for a new coaster a lot more than Busch Gardens Williamsburg, because Busch Gardens Williamsburg got the new Dark Coaster for 2023, while Busch Gardens Tampa's latest coaster is Gwazi from 2022. Brandon from Theme Park Predictions has an entire video on Busch Gardens Tampa's potential 2024 coaster that I'll link in the description, and you should definitely check it out after watching this video. To summarize, it seems Busch Gardens Tampa is removing their Wild Mouse coaster in favor of new development in that area of the park. A station for what could be the world's tallest B&M Giga coaster could fit through that area of the park, with the 330-foot plus drop heading past Kumba towards the back area of the park. Busch Gardens Tampa is one of the best parks in the country already, but it makes perfect sense for them to open a new roller coaster in 2024. Universal's Epic Universe is currently on schedule to open in spring of 2025, and it will probably be the most talked about new attraction in Florida in 2025. Any park opening a roller coaster that year, no matter how crazy, will be overshadowed by the massive Epic Universe and the bunch of incredible coasters opening with that park. This is why I think SeaWorld opted to push any 2025 editions for their Florida parks up to 2024. This is also the reason why I think SeaWorld will be opening the new coaster at SeaWorld Orlando the same year as the new incredible project at Busch Gardens Tampa. Busch Gardens Tampa getting a B&M Giga coaster has been a rumor for years already. It's the one coaster model that, if built right, could cement the park's status as a truly elite park. With the competition in Florida heating up like never before, it makes more sense than ever for Busch Gardens Tampa to open a brand new B&M Giga coaster. And if done correctly, a B&M Giga, taller and better than Fury, could easily become the best coaster in the world when it opens in 2024. Keep in mind though that Busch Gardens Tampa has not confirmed anything yet, and this is just my personal opinion on the current situation. Between either of the Busch Gardens Park's potential 2024 coasters and the reimagining of Thrill Dragster, I think 2024 will very likely bring the new world's best coaster and will definitely be one of the best years for coasters ever. The SeaWorld chain has really been doing great things recently, and Cedar Point is truly going all out with Thrill Dragster. Cedar Point has another trick up their sleeve though that no one has been paying attention to. Wild Mouse may look like an ordinary family coaster the park opened for 2023, but it's revealed some much bigger things going on behind the scenes at Cedar Point and the Cedar Fair chain as a whole. Wild Mouse isn't just your ordinary family coaster. It has the power to change the future of the entire roller coaster industry, which is exactly why you need to watch this video on why Cedar Point's Wild Mouse is much better than you think.